Do you want it up?
Okay, everybody, can you hear us now?
How are you gonna? We're gonna have to look on here.
Sorry about that. We were set up with the computer to do this tonight, and we actually thought we had everything worked out, but obviously not. So we'll try this again. We hope we didn't lose people, but let us know if you can hear us.
I think they can because I can hear it on here.
But
Yeah.
we're just on a delay on that.
Okay. Brandon.
So, hi, Brandon.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me, Brandon?
Hi, Brandon. Can you hear us?
Yay!
Yay!
Okay, so we worked that out even though we're on a phone now.
Yeah.
So we'll start all over with what we were saying. Tonight we are going to be talking about the Delphi murders. This is something that happened almost 4 years ago. It would be 4 years in February that this terrible thing has happened. Last night we interviewed Libby's grandma, Libby
Patty.
German's grandma, Becky Patty.
Right.
Our intentions were that we were going to go ahead and play that interview tonight along with interviewing Carrie, her mother. But it ended up being that the interview lasted, we were actually interviewing her for 2 hours. She, very, very nice woman. And so what we're going to do instead with her interview is we're going to upload it onto our YouTube channel probably tomorrow.
Right.
And that way everybody can hear it in the entirety and we don't have to edit that down, our 2-hour version, and just let you hear the raw emotion that came from this grandma.
That's very raw.
But what I was saying, and no one could hear me, was that, you know, we've had our radio podcast a while back, Pushing the Limits, and it's something we wanted to get back into, but we just haven't got all the bugs worked out of that yet either. So we decided that we'd go ahead and do some Facebook Live and still do our podcast, so to speak, but on Facebook Live, even though we don't like seeing ourselves on
I am not
live
liking
video.
it. I'd rather do audio, but I guess this is the new thing, and
Yes.
I'm old. So.
And Jackie wanted to do some true crime things along with the paranormal. And at first I was apprehensive. I didn't really know if I wanted to do that. But after...
But you do get emotional.
Yeah, and after I thought about it, I thought, you know, if this was my family member, I definitely would not want people to quit talking about it.
Right.
Even though it's a very sensitive subject.
Yes.
So tonight we have Libby's mom that's going to be calling in, and we hope you can hear her. Hope it all works out.
I'm actually going to call her, and you should. I'll just put my phone up there, but till we get our bugs worked out, we're probably just going to have to answer all you. We can see what you guys are saying, but as far as answering you, we'll audio or answer you by talking, right?
Yeah, and we ask that everybody be respectful with their words if they're going to listen to the mother tonight, because people can be so hurtful, and this is a very sensitive subject for them still, I would imagine.
I mean, I don't know any families around me that aren't blended families, and this is a blended family, and we all have things that go on in our lives, and that isn't what shapes and molds us. Mm-hmm. And this story is a true story as far as you cannot judge a book by its cover.
Right.
And you just always have to keep your eyes open.
And, you know, we got to keep in mind, this killer is still out there that killed these 2 girls.
Could be watching.
It makes me sick to my stomach to think that they're still out there walking around and that they would do this to these girls, and I just don't see any reason for anything like this.
We always tell our children to go in twos or to go in a group. This was broad daylight in the middle of the week. Mm-hmm. Not a weekend, not when everybody's out. These were 2 young girls in broad daylight, having fun, dropped off and going to be picked back up by their family. And I say this many times with Kevin's case, but they were dropped off to never be seen again. Think about that. Never heard from again. Never saw again.
And Jackie has been like really following this case for a long time. And I heard about the case. I've obviously have read some stuff about it, seen some things about it. But just in the last 3 days, I've done a lot of studying up on it and followed it step by step from
caught up a lot.
Step by step from the beginning to now. And you know, the police aren't releasing a ton of information. They're just not. And there's reasons for that, and I respect it. But last night I struggled a little bit in our other interview with the questions to ask, because how do you ask these questions when they had such that was a terrible loss.
It's tragic.
But we did, and we tiptoed around it a little bit, and we were pretty cautious about what we asked. But, you know, she was really open to anything, and she said she would answer anything we asked. And that was because if it would lead to this killer, then that's what she needs to do.
In fact, the reason that she had to do an audio recording yesterday versus being here tonight is because she's doing another podcast tonight. So it's been her mission to get it out there,
right.
And she's open to any and all podcasts. Now there's a couple that I don't know about, but yeah, I think a podcast is the way to go.
So if we get when we get her on the phone, if anybody has questions and they want to throw them up, we'll be happy to ask her, as long as it's a little sensitive. I don't want to be insensitive.
And you need to know the background of Libby did live with her grandmother and grandfather, but loved her mother. You never stop loving your mom.
And her mom loved her.
And her mom loves her. And they talked all the time. So please don't let that judge anything that she's going to say. And if anybody would say anything mean, because some people, I don't think our followers would say anything mean, I really don't, but some people can say some pretty awful things. Sometimes I get caught up in the group pages talking about different, like Chris Watt's family. I'm like so engulfed in that, I lose track of time, but it's easy to be engulfed in those, and I don't know where I'm going with it, but we just need to.
Yeah, and we have the case here, you know, Kevin, and that's tragic too. And there you are again. People want to say hurtful things to a family that's still grieving. So it's hard. It's super hard.
Yeah, it is. Just like one of their group pages that they have, people are in there saying hateful things to them, and that's a page that is supposed to be everybody getting out anything and everything that they know. So.
Hi, Lee.
Hello, Lee.
Thanks for tuning in.
Is that mic on there too?
So we're gonna wait. How are we almost ready to give her a call? And again, you know, the two girls in this case is Libby and Abby, and we will be speaking with Libby's mother. Both of them beautiful girls. Hi, Kayla. Both of them are beautiful girls, and didn't deserve to die this way or by the hands of anyone like this.
Hi, Nick.
Yes, you're right, Melinda. People can be so cruel. Hi, Nick. Thanks for tuning in. It's hard. It's very, very hard. I mean, we could feel Becky's pain when we were talking to her last night, and it is so hurtful. It hurt my heart.
We were both almost in tears with her, so
Yeah.
She said.
But we're gonna be doing a few more of these. We got a couple things up our sleeve for the lives that we're gonna be doing, and a couple more of the true crimes. Hi, Tammy. Haven't seen you in a long time, Tammy. We need to get our group together.
That would be nice.
I know.
I miss everyone.
I know. So we're just waiting for her to give us a call here, and then we'll kind of let her tell everyone what she's thinking with everything, and Then I have a few questions written down to ask her, but like I said, it's hard to ask the questions of people who are still going through it. And until they find the killers, they're going to continue to go through this over and over. So Jackie's jotting down a number, so I take it we're going to be making a call here in 1 second.
We are.
Is Lacey and Mike still on? I don't see them on here now.
I don't know.
Lacey and Mike, are you still on there? Hey, boo-boo. Tammy. But we were going to be having we're going to do one more true crime. That's funny. Sorry, she's texting Jackie and she got held up.
Yeah, she has to go get her cord to plug her phone in real quick.
Mm-hmm. So we'll do another true crime in a couple weeks, right?
Yes, and then our local case with Kevin, there's going to be a vigil and his 2-year anniversary is coming up in December, so yeah, that's sad. That's very sad.
Right. So is everybody familiar with the case? Because it was a national case. She had been on Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil. Didn't they do an interview with Nancy Grace?
Inside Edition.
Mm-hmm.
All the major stories. There's a really good podcast that HLN Network puts out.
Right.
But Becky was just telling us that she has attended some conventions, and she was amazed at the fact that this wasn't a national case, and she couldn't believe that some people had not heard about this, because it pretty much is national. And like I said, it's just really sad that 2 young girls can just go out in broad daylight and just disappear. I mean, they didn't disappear, but we know what happened. But you know what I mean.
So what happened was that they released the video, and Libby actually was the one who took the video of the man. So this is a smart girl. This is a smart girl that decided, like, something's up and I need to record this guy. And I'm hopeful that it's going to solve the case.
Her
that
video,
picture.
Yeah, her picture and her video.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they have more evidence that, I don't work in law enforcement, and I understand there's reasoning behind everything, but it seems as though they could release something else where somebody could say something.
Right. And I have to tell you, and this is just my opinion. Tammy, we're talking about the Delphi murders, the 2 girls that were murdered in Delphi.
Abby and Libby.
When the first sketch came out, that I thought, wow, this is an older guy, because when she had the video and then there was the sketch, I thought, this is an older man.
Mm-hmm.
And then they threw us for a loop. And how much longer? Let me look at my notes. It was
6 months.
Was it that long? When they released the second sketch.
I think it was about 6 months. It might have even been about 8 months.
And I thought, then now it's a younger guy. And I thought, what is going on here? What are they trying to do? And I'm not going to lie, I thought that they were doing it on purpose, because I thought, okay, what they're going to do is they're going to release the first sketch, and then they think the guy's going to get scared. So they release the second sketch, hoping that maybe, and this is my opinion, hoping that maybe he lets his guard down and makes a move. But I may be wrong, because after we talked to Becky last night, she had a whole different take on it, and hers made sense too.
Oh, hers made me really think about.
Right.
Actually, it really opened my eyes into the way of thinking about something. So you'll be really wanting to listen to that audio that we upload on her.
Right.
But I think Carrie's ready.
Okay, we're going to get her on the phone now. Good, I'm glad you guys can hear us.
Yes, better. That was a little frustrating.
Right.
It seems like every time that we've tried to put together something in the last, 5 or 6 months, especially with all the COVID restrictions and everything, nothing worked.
Right.
But we made this one work, so that's good.
Right. So we're going to get her on the phone real quick. Or Jackie is.
And hopefully you can hear. It'll come up higher.
Hi, Don.
Hello.
Hi, Carrie. This is Jackie.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for talking to us tonight.
No problem.
Let's make sure that everybody can hear. Can you all hear Carrie on here? Just say hi once, Carrie.
Hi, everybody.
Let's see. And you, I know she's just getting in from work and trying to get the children settled. And I'm pretty sure they can hear you.
Yes, I'm positive they can.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
they can.
We got a yes.
Okay, good.
So, how was your day today?
It was a long day.
Seemed like
I work 10-hour shifts at Amazon, so it's always a long day.
Right, right.
Aw, that's a fun thing. What are you have day hours?
Yeah, I work, 10 hours starting 7:30 in the morning to like 6 at night. I get home about 6:37.
Are you at their?
But
You're at their FC?
I'm at a return center.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
when you all return the things that you don't want, they are processed through my warehouse.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Probably for you.
Sometimes we get some weird things every so often.
So
You'd be surprised what you could buy on Amazon.
Right. So we kind of got everybody up to speed about who you are, but we're going to go ahead and let you tell them too and introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm Carrie Timmons. I am mother to Kelsey, Libby, Alexis, and Hayden. Libby, of course, being my second daughter. I live in Kentucky now with my two youngest kids. We've lived here for about 12 years. So I actually lived here when this all happened in 2017.
Wow.
So that didn't make it any easier, for sure.
Right.
That had to be a lot more difficult, actually. Then you're just holding
being so
on
far
to-
away and getting that phone call, it was terrible.
Yeah, and then you're just holding on, hoping somebody calls you back.
Right. That first night, that's all I was waiting for was, someone calling to tell me that they found the girls and everything was fine. They were just hanging out and having fun. But unfortunately, I didn't get another call until the next morning. I mean, I got several calls, but I got the horrible call the next morning.
Right.
I just can imagine that, being that far away and have something so tragic happen like that. That'd be terrible.
Well, I was trying to arrange transportation to get there, and as far as I knew, join a search and rescue. When I was about to leave, I finally was able. Well, I received a phone call from Derek telling me that they found the girls.
Wow.
Longest 4-hour drive from here to there ever.
I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't even imagine a 20-minute drive, let alone 4 hours.
Yeah, it seemed like it took days.
We're very, very sorry.
Thank
Very
you.
sorry. So we're not going to make you rehash everything. We just want to ask you just a few questions. And it's super hard. We did the same thing last night when we were talking to Becky. And we don't want to seem insensitive with our questions, so please don't think we are.
Oh, no, I understand completely.
But I just wrote down a couple things, and I think we asked her the same question too, right, last night. But do you think that whoever has done this is somebody that you may know?
I mean, it's possible. I haven't actually been in the area for a long time, so it's a little bit harder for me to say that I might actually know them.
Right.
But it could definitely be someone that I have known, or, you know, that is, I believe it's someone still in the area, so
Right.
it's a pretty small area.
Well,
So it's hard to think that you don't know this person, but it's really even harder to think that you might be someone
Yeah, I get
that
it.
you know.
Right.
and you pretty much have to be a local to be in the vicinity of where they were. So you have to
that's
know
my
the
thoughts.
area.
Yeah,
And
that's exactly what
you
I
may
think.
not have to know the girls, but you have to know the area and what takes place.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I lived in the area from the time I was, off and on from the time I was 9 years old until I was about 27. And it wasn't until the summer before, so the summer of 2016, that I even knew the place existed.
Oh, wow.
And then it wasn't until actually this happened that I ever had been there. Like, I had driven by, but never realized what it was until Kelsey and Libby actually went out there the summer before, I think it was, with my mom.
Right.
And they had posted some pictures on Facebook or something, and I was like, oh, where is that? And come to find out, it was like someplace I had driven past probably my whole life and didn't even know was there.
Right.
The photos, when you look at them, it's a beautiful place, but a part of my mind is like, oh, the government lets people walk there? There's no side rails, you know?
Right.
Part
Right.
of my mind goes there.
I know. I thought the same
I've
thing.
honestly only been there a couple of times, and that it's been since this all happened.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, as far as I know, there was signs, no trespassing. You weren't supposed to be on the bridge. They had the trails right next to the bridge.
Right.
So, I mean, they obviously weren't very well monitored, or,
Right.
they didn't really keep track, because from what I've seen, a lot of people have been out there and didn't give any notice whatsoever to the no trespassing, stay off the bridge signs.
Right. And it looks very beautiful. And that's another sad thing, is that now this tragic thing has happened there. And, you probably can no longer think of it the way you did.
No, it'll never be
ever.
the same again.
No, I like I said, I've been there twice, and I have no reason to ever go back.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to go back either. At all.
So I walked a little bit of the trails one time, and it's just not. I don't get a good feeling there.
No, I would get a terrible feeling there too. I just couldn't imagine.
Did you have another one?
Do you think that there was, I'm just asking you questions based on what I've just read. So,
Okay.
Of course I don't know anything firsthand. But do you think that whoever's responsible for this was it one person, or do you think there may be more than one involved?
Honestly, I really don't know. In the beginning, when everyone was so adamant, it was one person, I always wondered, how could one person have taken Libby like that? Because she's a fighter, always taught from a young age to defend herself.
Right.
She wasn't a little dainty thing, and I know she fought back. So I've always wondered how one person could have overtaken her like that.
Right.
And if I look at it from her perspective, I could see that maybe one person could be responsible if, in fact, that person had Abby first, and Libby was trying to protect Abby. But when they released the second sketch, it made me believe that maybe that it was a father and son.
Oh gosh, that hit my gut so hard when you just said that.
No, I literally thought it was a father-son too.
That's so creepy.
Until I heard the way Becky described it yesterday. It made me rethink the way I think, but it feels as though they're related.
Yeah, I feel like if you put the newer sketch over the top of the original first sketch, I should say that they released, because I believe that they had them at the same time. I don't know which one was actually first, but
Wow.
if you lay the second sketch over the top of the first one, I believe it's like the same facial structure, same eye set, same everything. It's just an older and a younger version. That's how it looks to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the same.
No, I don't know that for sure. Nobody's ever confirmed my suspicions,
No.
but
These are all just our own thoughts and theories, and I think by putting it out there, that it may trigger somebody's memory.
right.
You know, because I'm going to tell you that if it were to happen in my family, I mean, I'm pretty critical in watching my surroundings, and I know Tina is as well. But I couldn't tell you that I would absolutely know second by second what I did or what I said, or so things are going to change. Things are going to be brought up back in memory, and we're all human, you
Right.
know. So it doesn't mean that we're guilty of something, you know.
Yeah.
And I was saying, when the first sketch comes out, and just watching the guy's demeanor as he walked, and he has very specific things he does with his hands in his pocket, or just walking the way he walks with his head down, or the way his pants scrunch up at the bottom. Like there's so many things that people could probably recognize if they really, really paid attention to just those little things.
Right.
And to me, he was dressed like an older person. So when the second sketch came out, I was like, whoa, this doesn't fit. That face don't fit the way this guy's dressed to me.
You and me both.
Well,
Like, at all.
honestly, I was like, what the hell? Like, you could
I
have,
was totally blown away.
yeah, you could have brought this out at the beginning, and you may have really triggered somebody to say,
Right.
I saw those two, or
Yeah.
something to that effect. You know?
Right.
It was very confusing to me when they released the second sketch because, we were, a year and a half of pushing the old man sketch.
Right.
And then all of a
Yeah,
sudden
that's
we've
what
got
we
what looks like a teenage boy.
Year and a half. So we was trying to put together, was it like 6 or 8 months? But
And I honestly thought, well, the police are trying to throw somebody off the track. Like they're just,
take it off of
they're going to
the
take,
older guy.
yeah, like they're not going to be looking for me now. They're looking for this younger guy,
Maybe they'd let
and
loose.
they would come out of the shadows a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just how I was thinking about it. But when talking to Becky last night and her view on it, I can see that side too.
I see that.
She was telling us that if you're
An older person. Right.
if you're an older person, you view everybody as young.
Yep.
And that's true. If I go in a bar, I ain't gonna lie, if I go in a bar, nobody looks old enough to be in that damn
No,
bar.
I'm the oldest person there.
Nobody does. Nobody does. But if you're a young person, everybody looks old.
I never thought of that theory before.
I never had either, really.
No, and it makes sense.
It does make
It
sense.
does.
That's what I was wondering, like, I don't know that I know who are the witnesses, like, where were they, or were they just somebody that were driving by, or walking by, or in the area? I don't know who the witnesses are.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't know where they came from, like, that don't even make sense, but I know what I'm trying to say, like.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, we
I
have
don't
no way
mean
of
they're
knowing
not
if it was an older
credible.
person that gave the details for the sketch or a younger person.
Exactly.
But it does make sense that it could have been an older person that gave one, and then a younger person gave the other.
That makes
I can see that.
Me too. That makes sense. Even though I didn't really see it that way at first, I just saw it my
And
way.
then after she said it, I'm like, how crazy is this? This lady just lost her children, and she's thinking logical,
and I'm thinking,
oh, way off track here. And
Well, I think that's part of it where we don't have any answers. Like, I literally have so many scenarios that go through my head
I can
constantly. And I have people that will message me, which I'm completely open to. People will send me messages, oh, what do you think about this? What do you think, whatever. So I've got, like, honestly, an infinite number of different things that go through my head at all times.
right. I bet
And not knowing, you kind of feel that in yourself, like, well, this could have happened, that could have happened. And in almost 4 years, I can tell you, I've imagined so many of the unimaginable.
well, and you probably get so bombarded with people writing to you and everything, and because you're out in the open. But you know what? I would want to look at all of them because somebody may know something.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I've always said, if anybody wants to message me, I'll listen to what you have to say. I may dismiss it completely, but that's,
Right.
if it's completely ridiculous. I've had people come at me with some really crazy crazy stories, and you can tell some of them are just like, oh, well, that's a mad girlfriend, or,
A disgruntled wife, or
yes, you
Right.
can
and
tell.
it's not to make light of anything, but isn't it crazy the people that do come out of the woodwork and
It's
say,
disgusting, really.
yeah, it is. Thank God
yeah,
she didn't push me aside. I bugged you too much all the time, so.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You don't bug me. But I have had messages, where people are telling me this or that happened, and I'm just like, if you really know that, then why are you telling me and not the police? And if you are just making that up, what kind of psychopath are you?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I don't even understand people anymore. I really don't.
Right.
Well, and the sad part about it is so many people are tricksters, and I'll just say it that way, that you possibly could be talking to the real person and they're throwing you off saying something like
Absolutely.
that just to see how mad you get or how angry you get, and then they get a satisfaction out of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there are a lot of sick people out there.
So many.
I was looking at the timeline of everything, and that I have an analytical mind, so I'm like analyzing everything, you know.
Right.
But I was looking at the timeline, and I was wondering what time they were supposed to come and pick the girls up. Mm-hmm. And she said there wasn't really a specific time that Derek was supposed to just call her and say, hey, I'm on my way. Mm-hmm. So I get that, because I can see anybody doing that.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I was like trying to really think about it, because I know that the last picture that she had put up was on her Snapchat at 2:07.
Yes.
And
Or that's all they've shared.
that's all they shared. But one thing I didn't get was the time that the video of the man was made. Mm-hmm. That I don't think I ever saw a time on that.
I don't think they're telling us that.
They're not telling that. So I was trying to figure it out, because that's what I do. And I was trying to figure out, I know that to get to where the scene was where they found the girls is a half mile. So that should take approximately 10 to 15 minutes to get there.
Unless they're lollygagging a little.
Yeah. But logically, a normal person could get there in 10 or 15 minutes. And if I'm not sure what time Derek did arrive, what time the call was made to her that he was trying to get hold of her, but that's not a lot of time.
No, it's not.
That's not a lot of time. If he was there at even 3:00, that's still not a lot of time. So I would think, I don't know when the video was made, but you would think that they probably reached that point by 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
Or
it would seem
or another way
that adds up closest.
And another way to think of it is, and not to sound insensitive, but the time frame, it was just enough time to obtain them, and they could have, when they walked them, they could have walked them to a location where nobody saw them, because there were hundreds of people looking in every square inch there, and they had looked in the spot area where they were found the day before in the evening.
The night before.
Yeah, so to find them the next day, my own thoughts, and these are my own opinions, are there was enough time in between the 1:30 and 5:30. That's a huge time frame there that between the time they were dropped off and the police were called, 1:30, 5:30. And so they could have taken them somewhere.
It's possible.
Brought them back.
But at 2:07, she was taking a picture on the bridge.
Right. But I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is, there's enough, even though because you are analytical, even though the time frame is very minute, that was enough time to grab. And I'm sorry to say it that way.
Yeah.
It was enough time to grab and then go.
But the police have never disclosed also exactly how they died, right?
No.
Or have they said where?
No, not to me anyway.
No.
So no one even knows if it happened where they found them then.
No,
Although
technically, I guess no. But I will say this: that night when they were out there searching, I was told that they never made it to that side. That they never actually searched that specific spot. Now, I find that hard to believe considering when they called the search off at, midnight?
Yeah,
Midnight. Midnight, yeah.
Like, my brother stayed out there with a friend of his until 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's what we heard. Becky said that, and she said that people with you, your family, and other locals, they didn't
Stayed,
leave.
yeah.
They just continued to search, and I know that if we had been there, we would have done
that's
that
amazing.
too, so. But,
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have left until I found her.
no. But she was saying at one point that someone did get very close to them and then turned around and walked back and didn't get there because they...
Now, see, that's what I was told. I was told, and it actually was my brother's friend that was with him. I was told that he was about to cross the creek going towards the area where they were actually found the next day, and that he was stopped by someone.
Okay.
I don't know if it was law enforcement, if it was... I don't know if it was anybody, in a professional capacity or if it was just another searcher, but he was stopped and said, we're not going over there. We're calling off the search for the night, something along those lines. And Eric went back the other direction.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, even when I just said that, just saying that out loud made it seem very almost suspicious that someone would turn him away.
Yeah.
And I never even thought about that.
Right. It's like, that was my, not to interrupt you, but that was my thought when it was said to us last night, is like, why? Like, who? What? Why?
Maybe that's a phone call. Maybe that's a phone call you need to make and ask your brother who it was that turned him away.
Yeah.
I mean,
See,
why?
I feel like we've had this conversation, and I'm trying to remember if he told me who it was specifically, like if he gave me a name.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Because, I mean, just hypothetically speaking, if a law enforcement person found them and at that moment, and that's why they called it off, because they needed to process the area. Does that make sense? So maybe they already knew.
Well, are you saying in a law enforcement capacity or in a criminalistic capacity? Because I'm thinking more.
Yeah.
As they were, that was the actual person, and
right. Me too.
They're like, no, stay away. Don't come over here. There's nothing to see here.
I was thinking that way, but then my logical side said maybe it was somebody that way too. But I mean, we just don't know, and that's what drives me crazy. Is I don't know, and I'm not even related.
I'm not gonna lie. That's part of what makes me crazy.
Yeah,
just a small bit, but
just a little. I mean, I'm not laughing at any of it. I'm just saying, been listening to you, and I've heard you talk before too, and listening to Becky, you both have such a angelic demeanor, and I don't know that I could be that calm. Lord, please don't test me. I don't want tested.
No.
But I don't know that I could. I wouldn't be able to talk to anybody because I would never stop. I
have that problem.
Yeah.
I think some of my friends, maybe not so much my friends, but like some people probably get tired of hearing it. Probably get tired of seeing me post it, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would never stop.
No, and that's exactly what till the day I die, hopefully to God this is solved before then, but I will not stop.
I would never stop, and I would never lose hope in knowing that. I mean,
no, I get really upset when people say that he's dead. I think he's dead.
No,
or there was a group of people that were really convinced that it was the Paul Etter that killed himself, and
there was a lot of people convinced it was him, and I didn't believe that. I think that was set up to. I think some people seek out joy, or they're thrill seekers. I'm a thrill seeker, but not to that extent. But
right, I know what you mean.
Some people, and maybe that's what he wanted to be. People to think about, like to make him noticed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, quite possibly. But I really, even if with all of the things that were tossed at me that it was trying to prove it was him, I still never really thought it was him, even though suicide aside, just what they were laying out for me, it never matched up for me.
No.
Right.
But then when people do say, "Oh, I think BG's dead," I get it. That makes me mad. Because first of all, how dare he be dead? And
Right.
not that easy.
Right.
And second of all, that just kind of it's almost as if trying to chip away at my hope.
Yeah.
And I refuse to allow that to happen.
Right.
He's alive, and he's going to be found. And honestly, I don't care if it's law enforcement or somebody else that finds him.
Right.
Right.
But he's going to be caught. And I hope before somebody else has to go through this.
No kidding.
I mean,
But that's something I
That's
worry about every day.
That's scary. That's scary to me, to think that they're still out there.
and
It's so scary.
Well, not knowing why this happened in the first place, we still don't know if maybe another member of the family is a target.
you don't know any of that. Like, I mean, that's the same with Janet and Michael here, April Tinsley's parents. They sat for years and years and were tormented like this, you know, and not knowing, and then that person would come out and torment them. And between you and I and everybody listening, I don't think the guy they have now is the guy. So,
So,
what is that? What's going on?
There's somebody's writing something here.
Oh,
They started searching what?
I don't know. I gotta look.
Around, and then
I have to put my smarts on here.
they went to the creek where they stopped at the bridge's side and worked their way out to the...
Up to Ron's. Ron Logan's. Because when you search, you go from the last... Okay, but I understand that. Who's saying that? When you search, you go from the last spot known and search outward. They
right.
should've-
Which
they
makes
should've been
perfect
found.
sense. It's
They
just-
should have been found if they were there the whole time, somebody said.
Yeah.
I agree.
Jenica.
It's always boggled my mind how they were not found that night, why they called off the search when they did, and why dogs were not brought in.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because I think they said that they didn't bring the dogs until the next day.
Yeah.
Well, the dogs never got there, to my knowledge, because I was told the dogs were on the way when they actually found the girls.
Wow.
That's
Now-
true. I think Becky went home to get clothes. She needed to get clothes of Libby's for the canine.
That makes sense. But what I still don't understand to this day is why, because they were calling like for dogs from Illinois. I'm assuming Chicago. I really don't know though. Why do we not have dogs in Indiana?
But we do.
So then why were they coming from Illinois?
A lot of it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't.
And why were they not, why would they not call someone local and have them out there immediately?
In the years that I've followed crime, I've never known them to stop a search. I mean, not in 6 hours.
No, and
Not
I may
when
not
the
gain,
elements-
I'll probably lose fans for saying this, but I really don't care. I still believe, and I have said this from day one, that if it had been Toblez and the Bee's kid, had it been Jerry Holman's kid, anybody, somebody else,
Doug
they would
Carter.
have not stopped.
They wouldn't.
They would
wouldn't have.
not walked away.
And I think that's
They would
a
have had law
problem.
enforcement out there every night, or until they were found. That actually pisses me off. Still, sorry.
Right.
No, it does me too. And I not to take away from them leaving at midnight and what I was going to say, but I think there's a problem with just because it's a child and they're missing doesn't mean they ran away. It doesn't mean that they're playing games and don't want to be found. I mean, I think there's time lost that's critical.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I
On-
can't
on
tell
the
you how many times I
procedures.
cussed my brother for trying to tell me that, Carrie, she's just out partying. It's okay. She's going to wake up in the morning and call everybody and feel so bad. And I was just like, you're an asshole. You don't know Libby.
Yeah, but he
Like-
didn't know.
No, I know. At the time, though, it grated on my nerves, and I cussed him a couple times.
right.
Like, why would you even say that? You know Libby better than that.
I just know, I just can't imagine what you go through every day. Like you said, you just replay it over and over. And I could see doing, I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine.
I was going to
Going through
ask,
that.
before our time's up, I know we're going to talk over, but I was going to ask that out of everything that you've thought of or looked at, is there anything that comes to your mind that you would want to share with anybody that you would want us out here to keep our eye open and to look into further?
Well, I just honestly believe that someone in that area knows what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't for the life of me figure out why they would want to cover for that person. I don't know if it's somebody big. I don't know if it's somebody important or if it's someone related to someone important. But it just seems really odd to me, the amount of, don't be worried, don't know, no reason, we found the girls, and yes, they were, victims of foul play, but don't worry. What?
Mm.
It doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
And how can, in a small community of 3,000-ish people in such a small area, not know? Somebody knows. He had to have known somebody, had some kind of family, some kind of connection to that area, and I just wish somebody would tell on.
You're right. I mean,
you know what I mean? I just come forward.
You're right. I mean, there's not anything you can do that you don't get seen doing. This just doesn't happen.
In that area,
Yeah,
even.
everybody leaves a trail. I don't care how off the grid you are. Everybody leaves a trail of some sort.
Yes, and like I was saying last night, when Todd and I go hiking, it's rare we don't see somebody. You always, and I don't care where we are, we will always pass people.
That's one reason I don't hike by myself, is because there's
you
always
will
somebody
always pass
out there.
people. And I don't want to air his business, but if Todd has to pee, and you have to go off the trail to pee, and I'm waiting for him, and when he goes off the trail, people will walk by me every single time. So it's not. It's every
not
couple
easy to
minutes.
hide.
So that's why I was really working on that time frame, because when families started arriving and started yelling, Libby, Abby, I'm sure that's what was going on, and they're looking for them. Did anybody see anybody on that trail?
Like they had to.
Well, it still confuses me that when Derek showed up and, he, I guess, went to the parking area or something where he was supposed to meet them, they didn't show up, and he went out, walked across Freedom Bridge and went over there to look for them. Saw somebody and asked, have you seen two girls? No, there's a couple under the bridge, and Derek went the other way. Now, at that point, that was fairly early.
Right.
Because that was even before Becky was called.
Right.
And he was frantically, where could she be? Oh, I'm sure thinking, damn it, she knows better than this.
But not thinking that.
No.
Oh, God, no. Not thinking anything was wrong. Just.
Where you wouldn't even think suspicious about people, probably, at the moment.
I'm always suspicious of people.
I am too.
See, I wasn't so much before. I am now.
Yeah.
Oh, now.
I paid attention, but I don't know that I would have prior to this. Like my two younger girls hate it because I wouldn't let them walk away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think we went to get air while we were that February, within that same week, trying to get the girls. It was my third daughter's birthday is February 17th.
Mm.
Oh my goodness.
So it was
hard.
She turned 11 that year. And so we took her to get air, and they wandered off to the water fountain, and I lost my mind.
Oh.
Right.
And they were just like, Mom, we always, no, not anymore. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's different now.
It sure is.
Oh, I know. I had little mishaps in my family, and my kids were never allowed to go a block away. They'll tell that story even in their 30s. So.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a chance to get you to finish that because I interrupted you. But what would you want people to look for, or is there anything that sticks out to you?
I just want people to still continue looking, be aware of the people around you, because I believe that person's there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It just seems like with the area, and I've only done it through Google Earth. I've not yet been there. I want to go there really, really bad, but I don't want to go there. So,
right.
But it just seems in that area that, like Tina said, somebody's going to see somebody. You can't just get away without.
How were there so many kids out there and nobody saw anything? Nobody heard anything? That's my biggest thing. How did nobody hear anything?
I know.
And that leads me to believe as it's a normal person that they seen leaving. You know what I'm trying to say? It's
they blended well.
Yeah, and it was not unnatural for that person to be there or persons. So,
which makes it seem even more to me that they're a local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because nobody even batted an eye.
And they could have been somebody that was helping search.
Oh, I think that too.
I don't think if it wasn't a local and didn't know what was going on, they wouldn't have gotten away that fast.
Right. They had to know that area.
Yeah, because the terrain was terrible.
I had read somewhere about they were geocaching, and I don't know, half the stuff I read I have to take and,
I know the girls had geocached out there before, but I think they were out there like the weekend before. Or the last time they'd been geocaching was like the week before.
Okay.
Were they out there to meet friends?
Honestly, I don't know. As far as I talked to Libby that morning, and, she didn't say anything about going out there. She had the day off school. They were just kind of hanging out, being lazy. She was still in bed. I was on my way to work, and I'm like, what are you doing, lazy? We have the day off school. Oh, yeah, that's right, because they had Friday off, too. And I had talked to her, throughout that weekend. I talked to her throughout that morning, and she never did mention going. So I don't know that it was, I don't know. I've heard contradicting stories since.
Right.
But who knows?
Right.
I think Becky said something about last night that none of them knew they were going. She said something about she heard in passing throughout the day, just kind of like off to the distance, that maybe friends were all going to be out there because of the day off, but nobody said anything about going.
Right.
And then it was like, can I go? And then it was the ride discussion that was tried to be figured out. So I don't think it was a planned. I don't think
so either. I think the 13 and 14-year-old girls just got bored and they didn't want to work. They didn't want to do files for Grandma. Is it because they were helping Becky out in the office?
Right.
So they wanted something to do, and for whatever reason, that was what they chose.
Go ahead, Anna.
I'm sorry.
No.
Has there been any new information that they've been giving you?
I have not really heard much of anything since they released that second sketch, which I also find odd because it was such a big thing at the time.
Yeah.
That was, I think, it was in April. It was like right around Easter. And, they thought, I think there was a few, we heard a few things after that, but nothing new. And then they didn't do a press conference that February, which I found odd because they had done one the previous 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, that was very strange that they didn't.
I think I heard there was something came out about the Flora fire. They had Doug Carter had done a press conference about the 4 girls that passed away in the fire in Flora, like literally 3 months before this, maybe.
Yeah.
It was in November.
People were trying to put that together, too.
Oh, yeah, I've heard a lot of those theories, too. They're crazy.
Right.
But it does seem odd, again, though, that that's still unsolved and this is still unsolved. But that's my own conspiracy mind working.
Yeah, I'm that mind.
But I can't even remember where I was going with this. I'm sorry. Oh, he did a press conference talking about how there were really no leads and they needed to, some things needed to happen that weren't happening with that case.
Right.
And I believe someone asked about the Delphi case in that press conference, maybe at the end or something. And that was pretty much the last time I'd heard anybody really talk about it.
Yeah. And you don't want anybody to quit talking about it.
No. I mean, as much as I wish I didn't have to talk about it, I would much rather... People will ask me in passing, or I saw such and such on Facebook or on TV. Oh, the girls were on Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil or whatever. And so they'll ask me something. Oh, is anything new with the case? And, I'll talk about it. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to bring up anything bad. Well, no, I'd rather talk about it because I want to keep it fresh in everybody's memory.
Yes, exactly.
I drive around with a picture of the newer sketch in my car. So, people see it and they're like, who's that? I wish I knew. Do you? Does he look familiar?
Yeah.
And it's always an opening to tell the story. But I firmly believe that the more people know, the more people can pass the story along. Someone is going to know who this monster is.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
And I hope it's not too long.
Me too.
And if somebody is covering, like you said, I don't know what that reason would be other than fear, maybe.
I mean, come on, if you're that scared, I'll protect you.
Yeah.
And it's a
You
great,
can come and stay with me. You can just tell me and I'll tell law enforcement. I don't care.
it's a great possibility the person is a loner, that nobody knows this person. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I get that, but you don't live that long and not know anybody. Somebody is like, oh, that weird guy that comes in and buys cigarettes, or, that creepy looking guy that had to come. He's got to drive something sometime, I would think.
Secrets are very hard to keep, too.
They are.
With April Tinsley that was here local, that guy tried to tell on himself many times.
Oh, yeah, he sent in letters and everything. But there are people that have said, well, I work right next to him in Walmart. And he was creepy, but I never would think of him doing that, So I'm personally on the fence about him. I think he's a patsy. So that's just my own opinion.
Yeah, if I lived in the town of Delphi, where your family's from, I would probably drive myself crazy watching everybody.
Yeah.
Oh. Honestly, that's why I don't go there much.
Oh, my goodness.
Because, my parents live in Flora, so they're 15 minutes from Delphi. And I drive through there, but I do not like to actually have to stop in Delphi.
Right.
I'm always afraid I'm going to walk into a gas station and that person's going to be staring me in the face. And what would I do?
Yeah, what?
Lunge at him and, attack? Would I freeze? Would I let him get away? I don't know.
And I won't lie, there's times that I've put faces of people that I've seen. There was a child sex ring, a person that had been involved in a child sex ring here that was arrested, and I put it up the other day because their faces were similar, and there's other people that have already spoken about it that their faces seem similar to me or their voice sounds similar.
There's so many people that fit that profile.
Yeah.
You don't know it until you see something like that.
And a part of me wonders, is that kind of like matrixing of a photo? Like, you know what I mean? Like is our mind so caught up in that's got to be
the facial hair,
feature.
that's so common in men.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I find myself doing that as well. I get a lot of people that send me where they try to clear up the face on the video or the picture we have of Bridge Guy, and people point out things, and I'm just like, I don't see it. Or I see a face, but I don't recognize it.
Yeah.
But like there's certain things that really stand out. Like you can tell your story if you want to. I'm like forcing you, but about your encounter and what made you think of that person,
Yeah. But it's those traits that I saw in that video of the guy with the pants.
Yeah.
That she took, because that's not a look that every man has.
No.
Right.
It's a certain
I actually
type.
had someone. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I had someone recently send me a message where they were considering that the guy walking on the bridge is an amputee. The way he limps, and that maybe he has a prosthetic, and the fact that he's that comfortable on the bridge would mean maybe that he'd been he maybe was born without a leg, because he was very, very comfortable. Which gets your mind going, like, is that possible?
I don't know. That'd be a little out there for me because there's no rails.
I think there's spaces between the boards, so that's probably why he was walking funny.
Honestly, I only made it out about 5 steps when I went out there.
Yeah,
that bridge terrified me.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it either.
I had to crawl back. It was not like
I
was terrified.
That would be me.
That's one of the reasons I'm not out there, because I think I'd get out there and get chicken legs or something,
I know.
And then fall off. See, that's my fear. I'm not even scared of heights. I'm afraid of falling. But if I took 4 or 5 steps out, and I was like, nope, I can't even believe Libby did this. Are you serious?
Yeah.
And then to just walk like it's nothing. I mean, I don't know, but tell about what happened to you.
My boyfriend and I actually hike a lot, so we went hiking. I heard the story about the girls I have never been to Delphi. I did not even know where it was. I thought it was near Indy. I didn't know where it was. So anyhow, him and I went hiking, and we went to France Park.
Okay. That's where I grew up, actually.
Okay.
I grew up right up the road from France Park.
And what was weird was we got there super early in the morning. It was kind of cold. It was in the spring. And we went to go up on that cliff, that's above the quarry part, the highest point. We wanted to go up there. But we looked up there, and there was a guy up there. There was a couple of guys up there. So it's a narrow path. So we said, well, we'll just wait. And then when they come down, we'll go up.
Right.
Well, we're standing there kind of just talking and stuff, like looking at the water. And all of a sudden, the guy was right on us, and he had came down by himself.
Oh.
And he didn't have the other guy with him that he was with. And so it was just odd because when we hike, we run into a lot of people, but it's usually good morning and they keep going.
Right.
This guy wasn't like that. This guy was right on us really fast, talking and saying, oh yeah, I used to live in this area, but I haven't been back here in a while. I live in Kentucky now, but I'm here visiting. And he wouldn't look at me. He would only look at Todd. And I was just like standing back staring at him, and I just had that fright or flight thing going on because I was getting a terrible vibe from the guy. And I looked down. First of all, he had no coat on, and it was freezing. And I looked down, and he had those jeans, like I saw in Libby's video. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like the blood rushed out of me. He was built like that, and he looked like that, and the blood just and I couldn't really tell my boyfriend because the guy's right there, right?
Right.
Well, the other guy comes walking up from the opposite.
Tell how he was standing. Todd.
He took Todd to the edge of the cliff and was showing him things down in the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, what's going on right now? Like, I was freaking out. And the other guy come walking up from the opposite direction.
And
he had went all the way around. And then he had a gun on his hip.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, oh, this is my brother John. And the guy went on to tell us that he was a pastor at a church and blah, 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 blah. And the whole time I was thinking he's lying for one thing, because too much information, that's the first sign of a lie. You just way too much. But anyhow, so I finally whispered to my boyfriend, look at his jeans. And he said, what are you talking about?
Oh, no.
And I said, the Delphi murders. He reminds me of the Delphi murder guy, And so I said, we're going to get out of here. So we went out to the parking lot, and it was
Didn't
only...
he hear you say that?
No.
Or he turned around at you?
They turned around and came back and said something again, and then they started to walk away. But when we got to the parking lot, I told my boyfriend, I said, take a picture of me right here. And I said, but make sure you're getting a picture of that car and that license plate. Mm-hmm. And when we got in the truck and stuff, I was like, I want to see how far we are from Delphi. And we were minutes from it.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy?
And I never knew. Never knew.
Yep. You probably 30, not even 30 minutes, really, if you took the back
I think
road.
it said it was like 20 or something like that. And then, it was 20 from there to that bridge. That's what I Googled.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, I was freaked out, and I actually made a tip to your tip line and turned those people in. I don't know who they were or what they were there to do, but I just got a really bad vibe, and I knew they were up to no good no matter what it was they were doing. So, yeah.
That's another thing. People call the tip line, and I don't know how the tip line's working now, or if they're still getting a lot of calls or whatever, but for a while I was getting that, they were kind of being blown off. They didn't feel like anybody really cared about their tip. That's why they were reaching out to me. or I get a lot of times people tell me, oh, I called in this tip, and then they're telling me, oh, this is what I called in. You want to call it in? There's no point in telling the same story over and over and over. Then they're just going to have 35,000 tips of the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. Yeah, we didn't get anything back from them, but, I understand that they probably don't call everybody back. I mean, how could they? Probably.
Right, I was told that they would only call back if they needed more information.
Right, right. Oh, I gave them plenty of information. They got pictures.
I'm sure they investigated.
Pictures, everything they told me.
Everything.
When she told me,
I don't know how they do it.
When she told me, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, because I called Jackie right away. I was freaking out.
We need to go there. Like, I need to meet you there. We got to go up on that hill because they were throwing things off of the hill into the water.
Yeah, and he supposedly is a pastor of a church.
And you said there's a sign?
And there's a sign that says don't throw rocks in there because they have divers. They do scuba diving in there. And he's throwing big boulders down in there.
Okay, they were diverting attention from something
they were
really
up to no good. I don't know who
I
they
believe.
were or what they were doing.
I think they were. We need to go.
But we learned when we met Ben Hansen that if they have too much information, they're usually lying.
Yes.
Why did the guy have to explain his whole life to us by walking past us on the trail?
And
it made no sense.
And the other guy come up from behind like a sabotage or something.
Yeah, they were ambushing us a little bit.
I would have been really freaked out.
Yeah, I was, and we always have walking sticks, and I had a good grip on that, and I thought, I will bust your ass, dude,
I know.
with my walking stick.
And see, I told her, I said, this is a good thing, and all you people out there that are hiking with your significant other or your friends, you need to have signals.
Yes.
I know.
First of all, never hike alone.
No. That's why I don't go out there, because I'd be alone.
Because anything could happen. You could hurt yourself. I mean, look at the guy who lived, I can't remember how many hours. Had to cut off his own arm.
Yeah.
I've almost twisted my ankle a million times.
Or was it 28 hours? Something like that. I don't know.
I can't remember, but it was too long.
Yeah. Way too long.
Way too long.
Well, we won't keep you, but we thank you so much for talking to us.
And
I appreciate the opportunity because, like I said, I want people to keep this fresh in their minds as much as gruesome as it is and horrific as it is. You got to remember, because these girls deserve justice. They did everything they could to catch the killer.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's another thing that I think it grabs everybody at is, and we did learn how intelligent she is, and I don't want to give away a whole bunch of things that Becky said, but
she's such a smart girl.
That's another thing that she gave visual evidence, and
being a crime junkie pays off.
Yeah, and that's a good way to put it. She was definitely that. But to give that evidence in your desperate moments, knowing that this may help find us, because at that moment they had to have thought, okay, something really crazy is going to happen to us. So to give that was heartfelt evidence. That was very, very scared.
Even if she didn't realize that something was going to happen to her, she knew something wasn't right about that guy.
Yeah.
Right. Her instinct.
And just in case, she maybe took that video thinking, I'm going to show this to my dad and my papa when I get home and let them know that there was a real creep out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, she was beautiful. She was a very smart girl. She had really good instinct. And it is just so sad and so unfortunate.
And honestly, I don't. If
sad.
If things work the way that people say they're supposed to work, I don't think she's done giving signs.
Oh, absolutely not. She is with me every day.
So I think people.
At some of my most down
aware.
moments, I feel her. There's always something. I'll have a stitched phone case fall out of a bin at work, and I'm like, that was Libby, and she knew I needed just a little high right now.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Well, we would like to get together with you in person.
That would be amazing.
We definitely would like that. We have a lot more things to ask, and we want to keep it open as long as we possibly can. So.
And you also have Jackie's number, and if anything comes up or you need to talk, just get a hold of her.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not on Facebook as much anymore, which probably doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like I left, but I try not to be on Facebook. But I've always got Messenger. You can text me anytime.
Right. Awesome.
So I appreciate you.
We appreciate you, and we're very. I got something in my mouth. Sorry. We're very, very heartfelt sad for you.
Mm-hmm.
For all
Definitely.
of you. You know,
And
like I said at the
We'll
beginning.
have closure.
Yes, you will.
I said at the beginning, you know, I mean, people are cruel and people say things about blended families and everything, but nobody knows anybody's story, you know. And truth be told, the people that are out there running their mouths probably have
Well,
things
they've
going
got
on
to
in their
distract
own.
from their own issues.
Yeah, so never
it
let
is what
that
it
bother
is.
you, because God knows why things happen the way they did.
Yeah.
And everything, I always say, everything that we go through, it's not for us. There's other reasons that we're going through things.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
just know
That is
that
true.
Yep.
our hearts are with you, and I just can't
Thank
imagine.
you.
I can't imagine.
No.
Well, I
thank you.
appreciate you ladies very
Thank
much.
you.
I really do.
Thank you so much, Carrie.
And I just want to tell you, I don't have my glasses on, so everybody's going to see me like lean forward and squint. But what is her name?
Jenica?
Combs. She said she loves you, and
Aw,
she's writing.
One of my
so,
very best friends.
Yeah, she was writing on the
and
page.
she was explaining to us about the search and
the dogs
what
and
we
everything.
were talking about. So you can go on our page and watch.
It'll be on there.
The video, yeah.
Thank
I
you.
will. I was watching right at the beginning, so
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch the rest.
Yeah, we had to go to our phones because we didn't have sound for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
We
with
found a way.
that.
Well, I mean, YouTube was down a little while ago all around the world, so I'm surprised Facebook is even still up.
Oh, wow. That's
Wow.
scary.
It's back now, but
They're coming
it's very
after us.
weird.
No, I'm kidding. Here we go.
Yep.
All right.
right.
Well,
It's 2020, so
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us
Thank you.
time.
Okay.
thank you. You guys have a nice night.
You
All right,
too.
you too, honey.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So before we end, I do want to give the tip line phone number if anybody wanted it. If you know anything or suspect of anyone, the tip line is 1-844-459-5786.
And the email, do you have that wrote down?
I do somewhere, but I don't know where.
It's Libby and Abby.
Yeah.
.org or something.
I
I had it.
do. It's Abby and Libby tip at CACOSheriff.com. So it's CACOSHRF.com.
Yeah.
But thanks for tuning in, everyone. And
Sorry about the audio issues at the beginning.
in the beginning.
And would
keep
you say,
keep Carrie and her family and all of Abby and Libby's family in your prayers because they need it and they need justice.
Abby's mother Anna, she does some podcasts too, so listen for hers, and you can seek out Carrie Timmons' name and then Becky Patty. So I think Becky was doing another one on Web Sleuths tonight. So.
Right.
But
So
I would say we're back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thanks. We'll see
Bye.
you next week.